In today's video, I'm extremely excited to share with you a conversation I had with bassist Rufus Reid. If you didn't know, 2024 is the centennial of J.J. Johnson, and I was lucky enough to have Rufus Reid record with me on my new release, Legacy. And Legacy is a celebration of J.J. Johnson's contributions as a jazz trombonist, as a composer, as a band leader, as an educator and mentor on the scene. And Rufus gives us the inside look at what it was like to play, record, and tour with J.J. Johnson.
My name is Rufus Reid, and I had the great fortune to be asked to play with J.J. Johnson. And it becomes a very interesting novelty, actually, because when Jay decided, actually, it was his wife's decision, Vivian, because he wasn't really writing that much out in LA. A couple years had gone by. He hadn't played. He hadn't played the horn, practiced, but he hadn't really played the horn for close to 20 years.
Wow.
You know, but he used to tell me he wrote this film, music for this film, and what you know about JJ is being that articulate, very meticulous about everything that he did. And he told me this story that he had finished the piece and they were going to put it with film and actually review it, and that whoever the producer or whatever director didn't like the music. And so they got some more music from somewhere else. Now he got paid, but he told me, he said, Rufus, that's like taking a knife and just twisting it, and that was, his wife says, you haven't really written anything since then, and things are changing. You haven't played your horn. We need to get back home to Indianapolis. And that was the beginning of the move back. Then he got involved with a woman, Marianne Topper, who was his manager at the time, and they were putting a band together because they wanted him to come back on the scene, and she got him on the cover of Downbeat magazine. I mean, she was kind of a mover and shaker, and as they put the band together, I think Cedar Walton was on one of the first rehearsals or something, and then Lewis. We went to Zurich, I think, and Jimmy Heath was playing, and Lewis Nash, and I got a chance to play. And so when Marianne was putting the band together, she had put it together, and then she said, well, we need to get a bass player for you. He says, well, I've been practicing with this bass player on these Jamie Abersol I play with him every day. Let me look and see what his name is. I mean, he didn't even know. He hadn't even heard my name. Jay was kind of like this when he did things. When he wrote, he was like this. When he played, he was like this. And he said, well, this bass player, Rufus Reid. And she says, oh, I know him. He says, well, that's the kind of bass player I want, because I've been playing with him. And so she happened to call me, and that's how I got the gig. And when I tell people about this, it sounds kind of funny. I said, but listen, you never know who's listening to you when you play. You don't know when that's going to happen, or if ever it happens, but you never know. So you just play what you play as best as you possibly can every time you play. Um, and you just, if you work at it correctly, someone's going to hear it.
Mm.
And so it ended up being almost 9 years of association with JJ, with the exception of the 2 or 3 years in the middle where his wife passed. And um, so that's how we met. And it was thrilling. The first concert, the first time we played was in Chicago.
Okay.
We rehearsed. We hadn't rehearsed prior to that. We got there, I believe it was Victor Lewis, and could have been Stanley Cowell. I don't remember, honestly. And it wasn't Ralph Moore at that time yet.
Mm.
There was a young tenor player that David Baker had recommended
Mm.
to JJ. But I do remember after the rehearsal, I could have gone home. I was so satisfied with the way the rehearsal went. He was very, very articulate. He knew exactly how he wanted to do these pieces. And of course, we did Autumn Leaves.
Mhm.
He says, okay, we'll start brushes and really slow, put a mute in. He says, after the head, Victor, you see that light up there? Bust it. I think I may have told you that before, but, and I said, whoa. And it was that compositional drama, the shock value of, I began to realize that it was all, particularly each and every tune had a little shape to it that actually, when we presented it, people thought we'd been playing for months.
Mm.
And that was the beginning. And I said, wow. So it was very exciting. And he
Yeah.
played such in tune and with such warmth. You had to play good with him. And so that was another wonderful challenge.